Hi, this brief video is going to cover how to import data into the HR Data Manager from the included Excel template. This method works for simple data sets being loaded with the employee names, positions, and most of the base data. Sometimes when you're trying to import from other systems where they get a little more complex, this won't work as well, and potentially you need a more custom solution to import data. First thing, I want to take a look at the Excel template, which by default is installed with the software in the installation folder, which is down under C, Program Files, HR Data Manager, or on a 64-bit machine, it might be C, Program Files, x86, HR Data Manager. And in here you have a blank template, HRDM load employee, and there's also included a sample one that has some sample data, and that's what we're going to take a look at here. And you can see we've got information already loaded in here. Each row needs to have something in the employee number field, even if that's just a sequential number, but it needs to have a unique number to each person in that row. And like I say, if you don't have anything set up for employee numbers, you can just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sequence right on down the rows. You want to be careful setting this up, as it's kind of the foundation of what's going in the database. There's that old saying, garbage in, garbage out. Lists like employee type, ethnicity, nationality, the reason for leaving. A lot of these columns populate drop-down lists in the software. Department is a good example. And if you spell things a different way, like if you have manufacturing in one place and period in another place, things like that, it's going to pull those all in separately, and when you do reporting it becomes a lot more difficult to get data back out. So it's good to, at this stage, double check all the information, make sure that the data is consistent. There's tips above each column up here in this red color to kind of give you information on what fields are optional, and also to give you some tips on adding that information. So I'm going to jump back over to the HR Data Manager, and the first step to import the data is going to be to press the Import Employee Data option in the main screen, and then I've got to browse to the location of the Excel template. After selecting the file, I'm going to press the Load Data from Excel button to pull that in. And it'll take it a minute here depending on how many records we've got, but as you can see, it's going through telling us what record it's on and what employee it's working on pulling into the system. And what it's going to do here, it's going to pull the information into a temporary table to allow you to take a look at it before we move on to the next step, which is actually populating the database with it. So it gives you a message here that it's finished that. And if you look down the list, it's got the Add Employee checkbox marked. If it finds name matches or number matches, it'll highlight that row and default to Update Existing instead. So that's something for you to watch for if you don't want it to update existing records, to make sure that these aren't checked. And there's an option here to say do not import. So if you scroll down and just take a look at the information that's being imported, and if you're ready to go, you can go ahead and load that into the database. It pops up with a warning here asking if you're sure you want to continue, and it tells you make sure you have a backup of the database for continuing. Your database should be part of a corporate backup plan anyway, to where it's backed up along with all your other Word documents, Excel files, and such. But prior to performing these imports, you want to make sure it's doing what you want it to do, and make sure your data is backed up so that if something does go wrong, it can be quickly restored right back to the way it was prior to running this. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And as you can see, it's going through and it's processing right now. It should go through fairly quickly here. And again, it'll depend on how many employees you're importing as to how long it'll take on yours. And sometimes on the network, depending on the speed between your computer and the network, it may take a little longer as well. So it's telling me it's done, so I'm going to say OK. And now when we come over to staff strength, we can see there's 101 employees listed. And if I go up to employee data, we have here in the list the people that we've imported. So I hope this was helpful, and please watch out for other videos that'll be coming to give tips on how to do other tasks within the HR Data Manager. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.